great to see you. Let's just talk a little bit about what Ben Bernanke said yesterday. Left you a bit cold.
Yeah, I would say that you wake up this morning and you've found out that the Fed governor spoke and did this fancy press conference now, and nothing's really moved. The bond markets, equity markets, FX markets, these are just normal market moves we would see. So that's what he didn't say that the market got excited about, rather than what he did say.
Well, I mean, what he didn't say was another round of stimulus. That's one thing that people were looking for, perhaps prematurely.
Yes.
Do you believe there is any case for another round of quantitative easing?
Not quite yet, but I don't think it's completely ruled out. So, and that's keeping the dollar at bay. We call it the ugly contest. We're talking about just Greece, 2 days ago. Now we're talking about the possibility of QE3 or not. And in the UK, we've had problems. So it's warts and all among the big three. It's an ugly contest, and they all look awful. Yeah,
I'm going to have a look at the pound with you in a second, but I want to get your views as to what your take is on QE1 and QE2. Why, indeed, do they actually set up a precedent to have QE3? I mean, did they work?
Well, they've worked in unintended ways. You could argue,
it helped Asia.
Absolutely. And Asia and the rest of the world has brought up food and energy prices, and in the West it's created a real income squeeze. Yeah. And we're suffering. So actually, what's happened is QE has boosted asset markets, but not in the West, and it's boosted food and energy prices and caused a real income squeeze in the West. So it has worked, but just not for us. For you, so it's been our gift.
It's cutting your nose to spite your face, essentially.
Yes, I mean, but we didn't know that. The problem is we don't know the transmission mechanisms of monetary policy anymore.
Well, it seems to be that it's not definitely working in the US's favour.
No, that's exactly right. But it has caused the circumstances where we haven't had a cataclysmic problem or a systemic problem, and that's what central banks say. It's the counterfactual that matters. I'm not convinced. It doesn't sound like you either about this whole idea, but it doesn't mean they won't do it again.
No, I'm not paid to have an opinion on this, David. I look at it purely neutrally. Let's talk about sterling. That was the only currency which seemed to take a hit, and that was because we have a British economy which is, of course, anemic at best.
Yes.
And also another round of QE there, QE2 in there.
Yes, in the ugly contest, you have to do something quite spectacular to look the worst, and it's not easy. And there we had some comments before by Fisher, warming the market up to this idea they could do more repurchasing. And yesterday in the minutes they shocked the market by saying they could do more repurchasing, which comes back to kind of QE2 idea. And that is extremely negative for sterling. And in this market we're hungry for trends. We're hungry to find something that's different. And here we've got something. So everyone at the moment is really giving the pound a good old slapping.
Yeah, and well, the euro, you'd think, would be trying to give itself a slapping given what's been happening in Greece, but it doesn't seem to have made much difference. We're still in this range of between $1.41, $1.43.5 or thereabouts. What's it going to take to break out of that?
Well, I think it'll take a problem in the US. I mean, the question you have to ask yourself is, if we've got a Greek problem and the euro is still trading at roughly 143, 144, what would happen if we had a US problem and we rotated there? And I think the market's much more of the mindset that the dollar is the next one, with the debt ceiling, which you mentioned earlier on your program, and other factors in the US. So it's really the dollar that I think is the next one to come under threat.
Okay, so it's the dollar which is likely to break to the downside than the upside, is what you're suggesting.
Yes, that's right.
And how does that affect what's happening in Asia too?
Well, then Asian currencies will strengthen, and as they strengthen, you've got certain issues with Asia, with inflation, so it's not such a bad thing. But of course the policymakers in Asia aren't very keen to see a stronger currency. But when the dollar comes under threat across the board, there's nothing really you can do about it.